Good afternoon everyone. I would like to welcome you in my lecture of Principles of Management propounded by Henri Fayol. When you talk about management, management is an art of getting things done through other people. But what are the underlying features and the principles that I will be taking into consideration with one point to the another point, taking into consideration basically who was Henri Fayol. Next important thing, when you talk about Henri Fayol, he is known as father of modern management. He was a mining engineer. He was the first person to introduce the theory around what the management principles works. Similarly, these principles would later be accepted as a guideline for workplace. And remember, every organization accept these principles and guidelines for what? For the better working culture. So it is really very important. Next important thing, this is basically the flow chart and the diagram of 14 principles of management. When you talk from one particular topic to the another topic, remember, division of work is one of the important topic which is related to the work which is divided into various people. Next is authority and responsibility. Remember, as a person who is at the officer and the management level, always is responsible for an authoritative position. So with authoritative position, he should also be responsible for the work which is dedicated to the people. He cannot just walk away from the work. So there should be a particular, a gap between these two things, as well as they should be fulfilling the people's need. Next, discipline. It entrusts on the code, values, ethics and all. So in every management, there should be a proper discipline and code of conduct which is followed in an organization. Next, unity of command. There should be one command at a time. If any people in an organization, if any lot of people are there giving the command to each and every person, remember, no organization can work. So when you talk about unity of command depicts how the manager actually works in an effective manner. Unity of direction. One direction at a time, it is really very important. So unity of command, after this particular thing, unity of direction is one of the important part of what particular directive manners. Next, subordination of individual interest. Remember, there should be individual interest, but they should work for the common goals for the organization, which is really an important part. Next, remuneration. Remuneration means the amount of salary, the fringe benefits, whatever is provided to the people who are working in an organization. So, principle says remuneration, what? Particularly the amount of money which is paid. Every person is working in an organization for what? For better remuneration. People jump various jobs, people work for what? Basically remuneration. So this is one of the important principle of Henri Fayol. Next, centralization. Remember, in every particular culture of corporate sector, centralization of work should be there. The work should be centralized so that it is divided among the people equally. Next, scalar chain. It represents the chain of command from the top to the bottom. Remember, there could be the subdivision, but one of the most important thing is that a word is used, that is gang plan. That means particularly coordination should be there between the various people who are working in an organization. Next, order. Particular order or framework means work should be done in a proper order. So this is one of the important principle. Next, equity. People are responsible, people work on the togetherness, the work should be equally distributed among the people, because if you put a work pressure on one person and other person is left out, remember, no organization can be successful. So work should be distributed in an equitable manner so that an organization can actually work on the benchmark or organization goals can be achieved. Next, stability. People working in the organization should be stable. If unstable features are there, remember that organization never works. So there should be a stability in management, there should be a stability of stakeholders, there should be a stability of shareholders, employees, etc. to work towards the same important goal, that is what? Getting the things done through other people, and that is what is known as management. Next, initiative. People working in an organization should be initiative in nature. Particularly if you are working in a framework of an organization, if you are not taking initiativeness, remember, after a certain period of time it becomes monotonous and the work is never done properly. So initiative is the 13th principle of management. Next, esprit de corps. Fun, important thing. Britishers have gone, but they actually did what? Divide and rule. So particularly divide the people and work on the goals. No man, particularly in this particular regard, the organization should be working on the principle of esprit de corps. Therefore, it may be said, no divide and rule policy. People should be working with togetherness, with unity, so that the work can be done properly. The first point which is explaining is division of work. So the first principle of the management, as I am already stating, that segregation of responsibilities and the available workforce should be laid down for the accountability. Next important thing, authority and responsibility. The management receives what? The authority for discharging its administrative duties. Remember, towards an organization. So when you talk about responsibility, other side of the coin, that means coin has two sides. So one side of the coin where the management is bound towards actions, but outcomes that follow out of them. Next is discipline. As I already illustrated, it is related to the code, values, actions, etc. And performance is determined by the benchmark against this particular point. Unity of command. When you remember the particular principle, Henri Fayol has suggested that principle have to be particular only when one boss is there. Too many bosses spoil the things. So remember, one particular command at a time. Next, unity of direction. As I say, this particular thing, when you talk about unity of direction, a particular centralized person who is giving the direction to all the people, and that is what is actually important. Then you talk about subordination and individual interest. Remember, it is a chain of command where the interest of an organization gains reputation on the basis of the interest of the individual. Remuneration, as I told you, that particularly it is a reward which is given to the employees. Next important thing, particularly centralization. So there should be a priority in the decision making process and centralization should be there. Next, scalar chain. As you see, a particular person who is the company secretary, let's take an example. He is enforcing the work to the particular level, and remember, against every particular organization goal, this scalar chain methodology is used. Next important thing, when you talk about order, remember the code of conduct should be followed in every respect. Then the most important thing, equity, that means people should be equally treated in an organization so that the people actually work together, work in a togetherness manner. That is very important. Next, stability. Remember, this log, that means we are locking the system. So if the people are stable in an organization, they will work in a better manner. 30s, initiative. For example, these people are ensuring that it should be better performance. People are ensuring that they work on the same organization goals, achieving towards success. And the last important point, esprit de corps. As I told, no divide and rule policy should be there, because if you divide the organization, no organization is successful. So Henri Fayol said, if there is trust and mutual understanding between the different stakeholders, organization will always be successful. So remember, students, this is one of the important part of the management, which as a student of management you should be knowing that Henri Fayol, he was not only the father of management, but he also emphasized on the 14 guiding principles what an organization actually subscribed to. So if you want to be a successful manager, Please follow these Henri Fayol of management. Thank you so much for joining this lecture series. Thank you so much.